Good morning. Elizabeth Warren wrote an op-ed regarding Neil Gorsuch as a possible candidate for Supreme Court of the United States. And the essence of Elizabeth Warren's rambling, because it's incoherent, is that because Neil Gorsuch believes in the protection of private property, and because the disparity between those who have and those who don't have is getting wider and wider, that somehow or other Neil Gorsuch is not being fair to the common man. What is she implying? What is the end result of what she says? The end result of what she says is there should be no such thing as private property, and we, the government, should be able to take as much of your private property as possible and distribute it to everybody else. And that's the only way to be fair. So let me go one step further. In order to be absolutely 100% fair, everybody has to have the same thing. They have to have the same amount of clothing, same amount of food, same amount of furnishing, same kind of car, same kind of house. Otherwise, things would not be fair. But that's not what people want to do. Everybody wants to get something better. In Elizabeth Warren's world, if you have something better than your friend, then somehow or other you're evil. Somehow or other the person that got a little more is a bad guy. The guy who's got less is a good guy. And if you worked extremely hard, or you were extremely lucky, and you got a lot more than the next guy, then you really must be a scoundrel. So let's try to figure out where this ideology comes from and take a look at what the results were, Miss Warren. So we have the two greatest examples of that. Actually, there are three I can give you. The two greatest examples of that were the Soviet Union, China, and for a long time, socialist Israel. And the prevailing principle over here was that supposedly we were all equal and we all should share in the public wealth. There shouldn't be any private property. Everything, industry, anything of value, anything that makes money should belong to the government and distributed directly to the citizens with no middlemen. What were the results of that? The results were catastrophic. The people were exceptionally poor, and the government was exceptionally wealthy. Any apparatchik that was in the KGB, NKVD, and the government troughs, they all were multi-millionaires and lived life not just far better than their counterparts in the Soviet Union or in China, but far better than the average or the above average American. Essentially, you traded one group of oligarchs for another group under the banner and under the guise of socialism and equality. One only has to remember the parody book called Animal Farm. And in Animal Farm, they were angry that the farmer got to eat all of the produce of the animals, and the animals weren't going to take it anymore. And they became independent of the farmer, chased away the farmer, and set up their own animal government. And unfortunately, the pigs took over, and although everybody was equal, but equality meant differently for different people. All animals are created equal. However, the equality extended only in certain ways. There was an equality of suffering, but there was no equality of assets. And that's what happened in the Soviet Union, that's what happened in China. Guess what? Even in socialist Israel, that's what happened. The apparatchiks controlled it. If you know anything about the collective farms, the kibbutzim, they're among the wealthiest people in Israel today. How did that happen? The answer is socialism is always corrupt. And the ones on top always skim off the cream. And the best system that exists happens to be the system that we're in right now, which is equal opportunity to succeed. Oh, but the rich make it difficult. No, the rich don't make it difficult. None of the great oligarchs of today were members of the great oligarchs of the 19th and 20th century. Carnegie's, the Sears, Robinsons, the Rockefellers, all of those great families, all of those people who had the Hiltons, the Astors, all of those families, that had the Strausses, all of those families who made tremendous amounts of money in the Industrial Revolution and beyond, are not the billionaires of today. Warren Buffett isn't part of them. Bill Gates is not part of them. All of the Mark Cuban, even Donald Trump, family wasn't any part of those great families. These are new families that became mega rich because of innovation, because of the opportunities that exist in this country. Oprah is a billionaire, multi-billionaire. She's not the prettiest or the smartest, but she is very good at what she does and became a multi-billionaire. Michael Jordan is a fabulous athlete, is also a billionaire, several times over. He's been blessed not just with talent, but the ability to manage his money and to become a successful businessman. And that's the reality of this country. The reality of this country is it's a country of opportunity, of equal opportunity, not equal results. But for the most part, where there is success, there becomes success for the masses. Because when there are rich people, you know what they do? They hire other people. They make companies, and they make money, and the laborers make money. And that's what created the wealth of this country. The wealth of this country is the fact that it is based upon success, allowing for success. And don't believe Elizabeth Warren when she promises you equality. That's the equality of the pigs in the animal farm. Yeah, you'll chase the farmer out, you'll chase the old oligarch out, and you'll wind up with a bunch of pigs on top. And that's what the Democratic Party, their policies are all about. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I just vote for whoever I think is the best candidate. But Elizabeth Warren is a socialist, communist, and her ideology is one of self-destruction for this country.